Naranja Academy, Terastallization training, and the epic return of gym battles. Here's what's happening in Pokemon Horizons. Episode 46. How thrilling! Naranja Academy. Liko, Roy, and Dot have now enrolled in Naranja Academy for some Terastallize training. Already, this arc seems promising, as not only are they properly including elements from Scarlet and Violet, right before I started my own series, but it's also done in a way that feels natural. Since the Rising Voltaclers are out of commission, this is a good chance for our trio to go on their own side journey to get stronger. Right away, we're introduced to Clavell and Geeta, who welcome them into the school and explain how the Terastallization program is gonna work. The gym leaders of Paldean will test Liko, Roy, and Dot on their battle and Terastallization abilities, which already sets up some goals. Liko gets Katy, Roy gets Brilliance, finally giving him a rematch, and of course Dot gets Iono. We also get the return of Nimona, with a funny gag where she's all fired up for battle, only to be constantly interrupted by the school schedule. We get some of the teachers here like Dendra and Jacques, and even a cameo from Penny and the Elite Four. Their inclusion specifically really shows how integrated the league is with the Academy, which makes sense since Geeta is in charge of both. Another big part of the episode is the return of Anne. She's also here to learn Terastallization, so it looks like we'll be seeing even more from her. Liko and Anne end up having a battle with their evolved starters, and it's cool to see how much the two have progressed since the start of the series, especially Liko since she lost the last time, but now wins. Now, as cool as this is, I do have one minor nitpick. The fact that we're in the Academy now and they even brought Anne back really makes me question what was the point of Indigo Academy at the start of the series. As I've always said, this could have just been Naranja Academy. Anyways, the episode ends with the reveal of the explorers infiltrating the Academy, which is a great way to keep them relevant in this new setting. Also, Fried and Cap are going on their own side quest, so it looks like the plot is still relevant. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10. This video is sponsored by Star Trek Fleet Command, a mobile strategy game set in the Star Trek universe. Join millions in this free-to-play, ever-evolving galactic journey. Battle other players worldwide, form alliances, and gather resources to build and upgrade your starships, improving its defenses, resource production, and other facilities. Recruit iconic characters from 50 years of Star Trek lore to crew your ships and go on missions to expand your territory. Also, join the Star Trek Strange New Worlds event for epic battles against foes like Klingon and Gorn. Enjoy new missions and ships every month, such as the Gorn Eviscerator, and customized avatars and frames. Download Star Trek Fleet Command for free using the link in my description and reach level 5 to support the channel. Thanks again to Star Trek Fleet Command for sponsoring this video. Episode 47. Liko and Floragato. Put all your heart into it. The group have arrived in Cortondo, where Liko will be the first to take on the gym test. Before they do, they make a quick stop at Katy's pastry shop, where they reunite with Murdoch. This was a great way to include him, as we learn that he's here working part-time while the Brave Olivine is being fixed. This episode also includes Coral, who just continues to have the worst luck when it comes to treats. She quickly gets over it though when she learns that Liko will be taking her test, so she butts in to take Katy on as well. Katy's solution to this? A cake baking competition. Well, at least it's more fitting than whatever the heck the games had us do. Now, I don't think this section is all that bad. I like the callback to the Motostoke Battle Cafe since that's where Liko learned how to bake, and Coral's epic failure was hilarious to see. Unfortunately, I feel like the Coral stuff could have just been its own episode or even shortened. I say this because it eats up a good amount of time that could have been used to flesh out Liko and Katy's battle. Now, to give credit where it's due, most of it is really good. Katy really shows her skills as a gym leader thanks to her charm and sweet sense strategy. She definitely gave Liko some trouble, as this prevented her from landing effective close range and long distance attacks. Liko and Floragato are able to overcome this though, once they're properly in sync, which gave them the perfect chance to Terastallize. This is an excellent execution, and they were even able to land a solid hit. Once Katy Terastallizes Teddiursa though, the battle gets a pretty abrupt ending, as just one Fury Cutter is enough to finish things off. Now, I'm not mad that Liko lost, it's just that it's her first time facing a Terastallized opponent, and I just kinda wish the Terastal portion of the battle lasted a bit longer. That's literally the whole point of this test, yet we barely got to see it. With how fast that ended, it makes Liko look a lot weaker than she actually is. You know, the girl who fought Rayquaza. If the portion with Coral was its own episode, then both plots could have been better, and also allow us more time with Katy. But hey, at least Liko still passed, as the main objective was to see her synchronicity with Floragato. This episode's rating is a 6 out of 10. Episode 48. Shine, the Brilliance of Fire and Art. The group have now arrived at Artisan for Roy's Terastal assessment with Brilliance. Wait, already? Man, back in my day, we had to wait like 20 episodes before going to the next gym. That's not really a complaint though, as I'm really enjoying the pace we've been getting to explore Paldea. The group actually arrived during an art festival, so on top of Brassius, we also get the inclusion of Hassel as well as Liko's dad. Oh wait, now we also got Nemona too? Okay, not gonna lie, this episode was definitely feeling a bit bloated with all these characters, but luckily it does handle the most important ones pretty well. Since Brassius is busy with the sculpture, Roy and Nemona decide to have a battle instead. And I don't know about you, but I think Roy is doing a bit too well against the champion ranked Nemona. Oh, never mind. Balance is restored. This loss is important as Roy wasn't truly aware of the weather that would affect his performance. Because of this, Brassius rejects Roy's challenge, and instead makes them participate in the art festival. Oh no. Okay, I actually take that back because this isn't a repeat of Cortondo. Although this part might have seemed irrelevant at first, it was a crucial part that helped Roy learn the lesson that Brassius was hoping for. As Roy and Fuecoco struggle to make the Charizard sculpture, they soon learn that they can also find clues to a solution anywhere. This results them in using Flamethrower to harden the clay to make an awesome sculpture. Then we get into Roy's rematch with Brassius. From the jump, it's a struggle due to Fuecoco's weakness to Sudowoodo. And the biggest obstacle this time was Sudowoodo's substitute that just keeps creating shadow clones. Thanks to Roy's newly learned lesson though, he gets a clue from observing Sudowoodo's sweat, allowing him to find the real one. Things really pick up when they both Terastallize however, and I loved how this matchup lasted a bit longer. Last time the speedy Trailblaze is what got Fuecoco, but now this time it has Flame Charge to even the odds, and eventually gives Roy the win. Now this was definitely a step up from the last test. It was a bit of a crowded one, what with the Nemona battle and the art sculptures, but it stuck the landing when it really mattered most, showing how much Roy has improved since his last battle. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10. Episode 49, Dot and Nidothing. We are now at Levincia for Dot's Terastal assessment, and after a brief reunion with Iono and the Rising Volt Tacklers, Iono reveals that her battle with Dot is going to be streamed. This of course makes Dot nervous during her practice battle with Roy, which worries Liko and Quaxly. What's great about this episode is that it explores the dynamic between Nidothing and Dot. Just because Dot is Nidothing, it does not mean that they're the same person. Nidothing is an outgoing streamer that she usually becomes in the comfort and safety of her own room. Meanwhile, Dot isn't very outgoing, and has only come this far because of Liko and Roy. Honestly, this is so relatable as a content creator. It can be pretty easy to record yourself when you're alone, but to know that other people are actually watching you, now that's a different story. After Iono suggests that she battle as Nidothing, Dot actually acknowledges the confidence she gets as Nidothing by doing an IRL stream and being totally fine. However, Liko and Quaxly know that she isn't being authentic to herself. Lucky for her, a wild Varoom steals her Nidothing costume, forcing her to battle in front of a public crowd. This moment is good as you can see Dot struggle, but eventually overcomes her camera shyness when Quaxly really needs her. This of course leads us to seeing Tactical Dot, where she's able to come up with the smart plan to defeat Varoom by luring it in close. The episode ends with Dot feeling confident in herself, which leads to Iono officially announcing her Terastal test battle against Dot, not Nidothing. So overall, this was a great episode. I appreciate that they didn't just jump into the Iono battle, but instead gave us time to breathe, especially after two back-to-back battles. Although I enjoyed the previous two tests, those episodes did feel a bit bloated. Meanwhile, this one takes its time to show us how the Rising Volt Tacklers have been, it properly builds up to the Iono battle, and best of all, developing Dot in the process to lay down the perfect foundation for the next episode. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10. Episode 50, Shine Terastal, Dance Dance Quaxly. Kicking things off, we get a neat collab between Nidothing and Iono, where Iono says that she hopes Dot battles true to herself. This has Dot questioning what she means, as she believes it's when she comes up with a good battle strategy and follows through. She studies Iono's belly bolt to give her the best results, but clearly that means that it will not go according to plan. Before getting to the battle though, we do get the inclusion of Coral and Sidian, as well as Clavell. However, I feel like this didn't really add anything to the episode, as Clavell has this gag where he kinda wastes time with these long-winded speeches, and that's literally what it is, a waste of time. He even made Liko and Roy miss the beginning of Dot's battle, which gave me extreme PTSD, but luckily they didn't miss much. Alright, so you just know this is gonna be a great battle, cause it starts out with a remix of the Kanto trainer theme. Hello? This was such a hype way to start out, the animation was on point, and it was great to see Dot utilize an effective strategy. By studying Belly Bolt, she learned how to perfectly dodge while it winds up to use Spark. Literally the perfect way to make up for her type disadvantage. Oh, never mind, it knows Discharge. This is where Dot starts to struggle, as she wasn't prepared for long-range attacks, Belly Bolt's Electromorphosis ability, as well as Slack Off. This was a good lesson for her to learn, as things won't always go as planned. I mean, even the stream crashes for a little bit. Thanks to Quaxly though, Dot learns to let loose and have fun, giving her a slight advantage again. In fact, Quaxly is having so much fun out there that he even learns Liquidation. Also, the way it uses its feet to attack could be foreshadowing for when it learns Aqua Step when it evolves. Please don't evolve. Once Iono Terastallizes though, the battle ends pretty quickly. And although I do wish the Terastallization lasted longer, it does make sense due to the typing. If anything, I'm surprised Dot lasted this long. Still though, she did really well, and battled exactly how Iono wanted, by being true to herself and just having fun. So with that, Dot 2 has passed her basic test, and has also grown as a trainer in the process. This was one of the best battles in Horizon so far. It was really good. This episode's rating is a 9 out of 10.